Dear participants, welcome back after the break. Big thanks to Håkon for the great videos from Norway. Many of us, including me, would like to go to Norway right now, I guess. And soon this should be possible. Now we will have a 1-hour session going deep into digital skills in economic context. I would like to invite to the stage now 3 speakers. We have Franziska from University of Groningen, Futures by Design project. We have Marike from Hansa University of Applied Sciences GrowIn 4.0. And we have Eva from Alexanderson Institute COM³ project. Dear speakers, welcome to the stage. You can say hi to everybody.
Hello, Darius.
Hi.
Hello, audience.
Good to see you.
Great to be here.
Good to see you on the stage. I would like to remind the audience that you can ask questions in the chat as the presentations go. Mark them with question marks. You can also post comments and mark them with comments, and we will provide them to speakers. So now, without further ado, Franziska will stay on the stage and will deliver her introduction. So, Franziska, the floor is yours, and we are disappearing.
Thank you. Okay, well, welcome everyone. My name is Franziska Bay, and as Darius introduced, I work for the University of Groningen in the Futures by Design project. We are supporting small to medium enterprises with their digitization journey in this project. And I'm working here as this is part of my PhD research. So I'm working on the concept and the evaluation mainly. Well, let's dive right in. So first of all, I would like to tell you why we think SMEs need data science skills, especially now during the pandemic. A lot of purchasing and markets shifted online. So this increased the pressure for the SMEs to digitize. And they also reported this back to us. That means, as a benefit, data is more easily available for them. This is what we try to communicate. Well, because what we see and what research also showed is that data-driven companies work more efficiently, they're more sustainable, and that stems from more informed decisions that the entrepreneurs can make based on the data that they gather rather than just their gut feeling, which might be good, but data-driven is always even better to have some more security and planning. So in the end, what we hope the companies really get out of using more data science in their workflow and processes is a higher profitability, higher productivity of their production and business growth. That is what our project, Futures by Design, wants to help companies and then also the regions that we're active in on working on. I put a little overview of our project journey for you on my slide. We start with a registration, obviously, of the companies. Well, we reach out. Sometimes they reach out to us from hearing about us in their network, and we ask them to fill in a self-evaluation form so that we can learn about their current data science skills, but also so they know where they stand themselves. And then we continue, we show them a certain set of tools that was developed by one of our project partners in the Futures by Design project, that is the YATS Academy of Data Science. They can use all the cool tools that we have for them. They don't have to, they just pick what they need in their situation, and then they come to us with their question, really, and it's very customizable to their situation and what they want to get out of their data that they already have, what is possible with that. And then we see how we can advance their use of the data or maybe add some more that they can learn from. In the end, that is mainly my role again. We do our project evaluation, and after the execution, obviously, we do the evaluation and see what they learned, how they benefited, and also what we learned as a project organizing party. On the side of that, we provide the companies with background data on new technologies, on skills that they should have, and where they can gain more information. That we do in an online knowledge sharing hub. Then I brought you 2 examples of projects that are possible within the scope of Futures by Design. One is, think about a regular bakery that just wants to do something more with that data. So they already have data in their register, and think of using freely available data like the weather data. So they can, or we can look together with them into what they sell the most of when it's very sunny, or during cold days. So then they can adjust their production based on the weather forecast and become more efficient in their processes, and also more sustainable in their usage of resources. Or you could use similar data in a different setting, which is booking and registered data in a hair salon, just by looking at how long people take to actually, the staff takes to actually go through with the appointments. If you see someone's working very slowly all the time, you could just talk to them and see what's going on, and then optimize your staff planning, but also how you schedule the appointments. These are just projects as examples, but taking a step back now again, first they fill in the questionnaire, right? So we have a data maturity scan. And one of the questions that these companies have to answer before we set a goal or a project with them is how they use the data that they currently have. So the question is, when gathering, saving, editing, and analyzing data within our organization, what does it look like? And then, well, depending on the answer, not only one question, of course, but depending on their answers, we sort them into categories of how well they're already doing their data work. So some people still work on paper, some make use of standard software, but some people already link their data with something else and, well, do something like what I just explained in the examples already. So these are the different levels. I'll have a better overview on the next few slides of that as well. Moving on to what is in our project for the SMEs. So what do they get from us, or what can they expect? Well, we take them, or we aim to take them through some of the steps of digitization throughout the journey. And as we define them, it starts, well, for some of them at least, it starts with digitizing the data before we can even do anything with it, cleaning the data, describing, and then we can only move on to predictive analysis and using more advanced stuff like algorithms and machine learning. But a lot of the companies that we work with, I'm going to tell you that now already, are in the early steps. Then we go on, we define a project with them, and it's really based on what the company wants and needs. But just some of the topics that we're working with are benchmarking. We try to set up the hub and also implement benchmarking tools in that for the companies. Many of them ask for help with social media and marketing, especially, as I said, during the pandemic, everything has shifted online. So that is something that would be very useful for them. But also collection and storage of data with the new data privacy laws. A lot of people get confused and don't know really how it works and need help and guidance with that. Along with that, scraping and cleaning data. If you collect a lot of data, you probably won't need all of that. So that is what we help them with and what they can expect from our project. Now, on the other side, what do we get from the project? Because on my side, I'm a researcher, and as a research institution, we also hope to take something away from these Interreg projects. And well, we hope to gain data ourselves and insights into what is the state of digitization in different regions, or in the regions that we're working in, and maybe also different industries that we can gather in our sample. So we hope to learn about what is the most burning topic. So what is it that they need to work on first from a bottom-up perspective, and not from like research and what we think as researchers would help the SMEs the best, but actually what do they want to implement the most, and what do they feel is good for them. So I think this project helps us to understand it from their perspective very well. That is what we're looking for. Also, who comes to us, and well, how can we share this information among a group of entrepreneurs in a region? Further, the state of digitization. Well, I already have some insights into that I'm going to share also in the next slide. We see that there are certain regional tendencies already in our, well, not complete sample yet, but you will see that in my graph also. However, what I found surprising is that there's no link that I would have expected, at least, between either the age of the entrepreneur that worked with us or the firm and their data science skills. So maybe it's more dependent on the industry. I haven't looked at that yet. And you'll see data maturity seems rather high in the sample that we have so far. But from what I've heard from people who actually do the workshops and work with the SMEs, it's often that they know they need the skills and that they know they need to work with data. So they're collecting it and it's there, they have it. But when we get to the cleaning process and what we actually do to predict something, that's where the problems lie. Also, we might have a self-selection bias in our sample. So it might be that people who are more interested and more keen to further digitize reach out to us. But I don't want to make it more exciting and have the anticipation. So here's the graph that I was referring to. So on the right side, you see our different skill levels for the digital skills of the firms. And on the left side, you see the scale of different regions that participate and which category they fall into. So where we see quite a few firms, especially in Cambridge, Bremen, Osterholz, Germany, and Antwerp, that are in the predicting, so in a very high level. But yeah, we do see a broad variety of companies also that are in the lower levels and still need more support to continue the digitization strategies. So yeah, this is what we do. We try to help these companies advance their skills and make use of predictive data analysis to be more efficient. Yeah, and my goal is to also measure how well we do that and how we can improve our strategies. Not only them. And as a final slide, I'm going to show you all the regions again that are participating and the institutes. You can find them on the left side. We have partners in the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, Sweden, and the UK. And it's an ongoing project. So we're still working with the companies and collecting data, gathering feedback, and hoping to leave it as a legacy. That's it for me for now. If you have questions, I'll be available later.
Franziska, thank you very much for your intervention. I have 2 questions from the audience and 1 comment. So let's start with a question. We have a question from Payman. How do you approach companies and make them enthusiastic to join your journey? And how challenging is this?
Well, I might not be the actual greatest person to ask that because I'm not working with the SMEs directly, but I do know that we're present at like, how would you call it? Like conferences, exhibitions where career events or something like that. So we have open tables with the companies. We try to approach them in open events. But I also know that some regions have corporations with like the the regional government to facilitate the communication.
Thank you, Franziska. And I think we have another question from Trinke. So, Franziska, what skills do SMEs need in-house? How do you see the future? Curious, how does research relate to the futures by design?
Well, what do SMEs need in-house? A lot of them, to us at least, they are complaining about lacking human capital and like the time to actually implement all the skills that they need and to change the processes. But then we try to to lower the threshold for them by helping them and coming into the company with external help, for them to see that a little effort already makes a big difference for them. So I think for most of them, they just need a little push to do it themselves. That is the greatest thing SMEs need in-house. How do I see the future research relates? I'm not sure I know exactly what that question aims at, but for the future, of course, we hope to continue this project and make it more of a network supported system for SMEs to help each other, and maybe involve students from the universities who are into data science in projects with the SMEs locally.
We have one more question from Philip. How do you make companies aware that the quality of their data is insufficient?
Well, we do have a lot of information for them on data cleaning and why it's necessary. And of course, it's always difficult to make it, well, scientifically correct and give them a short crash course. But they do take our information very well, and they understand what a good data set needs to have pretty easily. So usually we don't make them work with very complex data sets and difficult stuff to begin with. So I think starting slow and easy is always a good way to make them understand the correct methodology and quality.
Thank you, Franziska. Thank you very much for your intervention. You will now leave the stage, and I'll see you back on the stage at the end of the session for one more question from my side.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Now I would like to invite Marika to the stage. Marika will give an intervention about overcoming barriers for SMEs in the transition to Industry 4.0. Marika, if you are ready, good to see you on the stage.
Yes, okay, thank you. Welcome. I really like to see, or not see, but to be here and look with me to one of the results of our project, the project GrowIn 4.0. I am Marike Pedersen. I'm a researcher at Hanze University of Applied Science. My research is about Industry 4.0, about skills and about road mapping. And in this project, GrowIn 4.0, I do a lot of work on our work package about skills and training. The project is about Industry 4.0 and SMEs, and in this presentation, I will tell you something about Industry 4.0 and specific the situation for SMEs. And I will tell you about the experiences and development of our HRM 4.0 portfolio we developed for our SMEs. And I hope you will be able to look at one of the tools and you can fill it in so we can work with this tool, the competence-based management tool we developed. First about our project, it's a North Sea region project, and we have partners in the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, Great Britain, and Denmark. The partners from the Netherlands are, well, Hanze University of Applied Science and SNN. From Belgium, we have FOCA, Chamber of Commerce, Flanders, Make, and Blenders. We have partners from Denmark, that is via University College from Aarhus. And from Germany, we have several partners, Allianz für die Region, Athenecom, and Ostfalia Hochschule. And in Great Britain, we have the Anglia Ruskin University, TWI, and Opportunity Peterborough. So with this group, we really have made a nice project. We started it 4 years ago. And well, I really enjoyed this project because we could do so much for SMEs. And SMEs were very happy that we could work with them, because in the manufacturing industry, it's very difficult for SMEs to remain competitive. And we have a big challenge that we give some guidance to SMEs in their transformation towards this Industry 4.0. So what is smart industry about? Smart industry is much about some smart industry techniques. And since 2011, this concept has been started in Germany and is driven by technological principles like cyber physical systems. That means that there are computer systems that work in the real environment. And it's mostly with industrial IoT, so it works with a lot of sensors, and sensors work together with these systems, and that's very important in Industry 4.0 IoT. There's a lot about data, and Francesca already mentioned it, that data is really getting more important. There is cyber security, because you're becoming more vulnerable for all kinds of threats like cyber attacks. It's about augmented reality, autonomous robots, and additive manufacturing like 3D printing. And it's about simulation and modeling. And that's, for example, digital twinning, that you can make a twin of your production process, and you can make changes in the twin to look what happens in your surrounding. Of course, this gives SMEs a lot of opportunities, and big companies already have these opportunities, but it's more difficult for SMEs to reach all these opportunities because there are lots of barriers. And in our project, we made a nice desk study about this. You can see it here on my slide. That we made this desk study, and you can find it on our website. And we have some conclusions made about these barriers. So what are important barriers why SMEs find it more difficult to join Industry 4.0 than big companies? As you could see at the techniques I mentioned, like digital twinning or industrial IoT, these are very complex things. So these complex things, they need guidance for this. And what they miss is guidance. And what they especially want from us is to tell, okay, what is a technique we need and what is a technique we don't need. So that's the business support point. And also, this uncertainty and complexity means that the SMEs are very cautious to invest in Industry 4.0, and it's also very difficult to find investment. But since they do not know what they will get out of it, they are very cautious to make big investments. And big investments are needed because these techniques are very expensive. And also there is a lack of standards. And they want to have these standards because it makes it easier for them to choose. If everybody uses the same software programs, for example, it's easier to work with it, and you don't have to do a lot of work of making the decision, oh, what software do I need? You just need. And that lack of standards is also something they find very difficult. Then we have the problem with the workforce, and the workforce is what the work package on skills and training is very much about. So about the situation in the North Sea region, I think most SMEs are in the first stages, and Francesca also mentioned something for data that they are not so far in maturity. Well, I think for Industry 4.0, the case is that most SMEs are in the first stages of development to Industry 4.0. But all regions and also SMEs are very much interested in it. And the regions are also very much interested in helping companies with this transformation. And the partner regions have all a good starting position. So that is good because if you have a good backbone and a good infrastructure and well-educated people, you have a good starting position to work on with Industry 4.0. And a common and frequently mentioned problem is that preparing and finding personnel for this transition. And it's not only technical personnel, that of course is very important, but you also need people with open-mindedness and change attitude. So you need change agents for this. Well, we worked on tools for skills. We did, of course, in a project do a lot more, but for this, we did business and technological tools. But in this presentation, I focus on our human resource management tools. We tested several tools. We tested existing tools, and we tested tools that we developed by ourselves in the projects. And we tested these tools in companies. Well, we have tested really a lot of tools in very, very different companies, and that was very nice. We did maturity assessment tools. We tested, I guess, 5 maturity assessment tools. We tested tools to measure competencies. We also test tools to work with data and tools for change management. Of course, not all tools were very adequate for SMEs, and well, some tools were good for some businesses, but not for all businesses, and some tools were good for one situation, but not for all situations. So it was not very clear that we could say, oh, this tool is overall the best tool and everybody likes it. No, even some countries liked some tools more than other tools. So some countries like more the workshops and the gaming, and others like more the maturity. And we compared the results of all our tools with the results we had in our maturity assessments. So conclusions based on our on our testing was that they were all very interested in tools that would help them with HRM, because all SMEs thought, oh yes, there's a problem, we should do something with it. But it was very complex to get an overview of the current work organization. When we came to organizations and they said to us, okay, what do I need for the future? Well, then you should know what you have now. Well, this current overview of the work organization for SMEs is rather difficult because, well, human resource management is not the core topic in SMEs. And it was also very, very hard to imagine what the future workforce should be. And that had to do with the field of smart industry, that it is very abstract. It was very hard to think about, for example, industrial IoT. Okay, and what kind of skills do I need, and how soon do I need these skills? So there was not one single tool, so we decided to go for a combination of tools, a portfolio. What also is a problem that there are a lot of various technical skills. As you saw in my overview of Industry 4.0 techniques, you will see, wow, this is really huge technical skills for different aspects. And that makes it difficult to make the decision, okay, what skills do I need? And change is a constant factor. And dealing with change is very important. And then you come to more soft or skills like critical thinking and problem solving skills. One of the things we mentioned was that there is really a relation between the maturity stage and what you need on human resources. And that, of course, is very logical because, okay. Yes, that is, of course, very logical because if you are in a maturity stage when you have, for example, just an ERP software and you do a lot of paper and pen data collection, then you do not need someone making artificial intelligence decisions or writing algorithms because you're just not in that stage. So there is really a relationship between the maturity and what you need on human resources. So in our human resource management portfolio, we thought that the maturity assessment should be a part of it, a starting part of HRM portfolio. Because if a company is aware of the phase it is, the maturity level, then it can compare with other companies that are in the same level. And then to go to a next step, you can develop a roadmap. So I go from stage 2 to stage 3. Okay, what do I need for that? What skills do I need to get there? So that road mapping is also a nice part of the maturity stage, going from one level to another level. So the suggestion was from the SMEs that there was not one tool, but a combination of tools, and that the maturity should be a part of it. But also it should be about change, because it's very hard for a company to think about changes in the workforce if they have no clue for Industry 4.0 technologies. So they want some things about change and also some information about Industry 4.0 technologies. And then a word that came back all the time was competences. So they wanted to do something with competences in the company. So the result was a combination of tools, this assessment for maturity, information about Industry 4.0 technologies, and one of our partners developed the Australia catalog, which gives a nice overview about the use of Industry 4.0 technologies, and a competence-based tool to fill in for the company. We also have a transition workshop to deal with change. And after all these workshops and assessments, it's very good to discuss the results with employees, company, and a consultant. So, okay, you're here now. We did all these tools, and what can be the next step? I also want to show you some concrete example of one of the tools we developed by ourselves in this project, because I think it's nice to see what kind of tools, what does it mean. Well, this tool is a tool on organizational level, so it's not on an individual level. And the goal of this competence-based tool is that an organization, an SME, gets insight in what the people think about competences, so what their employees think about competencies. And therefore, we made a kind of survey, and the people of the organization fill in this survey. And these surveys are collected, and then the SME gets an automatically generated report. It is a digital tool, it is online, and if you do not need any consultancy or you just want to do it by yourself as a company, you can do that. You can make a registration. You need to sign up and then as a company, and then you get a link, and the link you can send to your employees, and you set a date, for example, a week, and after a week the survey is closed, the report is made, and then the report is sent to the company. And so the company can look at the report and, well, can start a discussion in the company about changing competences and how do the employees in the company look at competences, what are important competences for the future according to employees. So this is the idea of our competence-based tool. And I hope you can find the link in the chat, because if you want to, you can fill in the tool by yourself and look, okay, what is this for a kind of tool? I will show you on the next page what you will see. This is the HRM Industry 4.0 tool, and if you go to the link, you will see this. Yes. I can try to fill it in by myself now, but you can also do it. So, yes, here is my survey, so I can fill it in, and I'm Marike, I'm at the Hanse. So, and then you can see, hey, what kind of work do you do in your organization? And we based this on all kinds of research we did. And we found an article which gave this nice overview. So, okay, my job has mainly to do with IT. This is for me. And if I click, I get, so what am I doing with the IT? I'm a PLC programmer. Okay, now I get some qualifications relevant for a PLC programmer. So then I can make two choices. You need to fill in every line and get this green thing here, because otherwise you do not get to the next question. So if you fill it in, so I fill it in now a bit fast. So then I get new questions. So I'm here, get here my new, yes. So, and we make some more specific questions for the function. So, for example, if you are a PLC programmer, you have to know something about artificial intelligence. Do you think that becomes more important or not? And these are more general skills like language skills, manual skills, creativity. So these are more these kind of skills. So I fill it in. This will take some time, but we hope everybody can do it in at least 5 to 10 minutes, not think too much about it. So then I get another, and this is about the maturity. And that's nice because then you think, hey, okay, where in the transition would I place my organization? So I would say we are far automated. And do you think your job will change? Yes, I think I will change. Okay, and now I have some keyword, and my keyword is cobots. So now I have filled in this, and I can submit it, and then it is submitted. What happens now is, here I am, yes, that when the survey is closed, the company gets a report, and this is an example report. This is a report from an organization I did earlier this week. And what you can see, and these are nice questions, is okay, you can see here it's in Dutch, but here are qualifications relevant for a management position. Do you have this, and is it relevant for the future? And then you can see what the people filled in. You can also see what they think about the states they're in, and what is really nice to see, or that how far a company is in the transition to smart industry depends on the position, because this is the same company, but almost 60% says, okay, we are in stage 2. You can see it here. 60% says, okay, we are in stage 2. We have ERP systems and a little automated. But there is also 8% saying, okay, we are completely automated. We are a smart factory. So this gives food for thought. If you are in a company and you get the results, you get the report, you can have this meeting with your employees and say, hey, okay, what do we think about being in this stage? Why do you think it will be fully automated? And why do you think we're just in stage 2? Yeah, reflection on what we learned from working with the companies. Yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty for companies, but also for the testers. We don't know how it will turn out. And what does it mean for my employees? And it's not easy to give answers to the companies. But what we find out that companies experience these tools as a first step, an introduction, as an aha experience, a first look outside the box. And I think that is what we as a project can bring to the SMEs. Of course, we cannot make a complete smart factory. We cannot build that, but we can give them an introduction, an experience, and a first step for the future. So, yeah, this is, well, what I wanted to tell you about our project, GrowIn 4.0. We have a lot of more tools. We also have tools about the return on investment. We have future-oriented tools. We have nice desk research. So I suppose if you have time, you can go to our website and find out what interesting tools we have made for you in this project. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Marika. Thanks a lot for your intervention. We have some questions and comments from the audience, so let's take them now. We have a question from Payman. The question is, I can imagine that one of the barriers for SMEs towards Industry 4.0 is about the finance and investment. Do you also focus on this dimension in the project?
Yes, we have this tool, return on investment, that organizations can make a kind of scan of the financial situation in their organization. It is developed in the Anglia Ruskin University. Yes, so we have a tool focusing on, okay, if I make an investment, what do I get for that? So in that case, it's not the same work package as our work package, because ours on skills, but we have this more about business modeling, and we developed some tools for that. So yes, we have that.
Thank you. We have another question from Liz. How well do the tools work in isolation? Are they offered with ongoing support from an intermediary, for example, business support provider or university?
I think if you have a good business consultant, it's better to work with a business consultant and the tools. So we thought about, of course, what are our tools for? Our tools are for business consultants. They can use these tools to work with companies. But we also want to approach SMEs by themselves, for example, by the tool I showed to you, that they can work by themselves if they do not want to make use of a consultant, or they do it by themselves, then that is possible. So I think it has value to do it with a business consultant, but if SMEs want to do it by themselves, our tools are free. You can find them on the website and you can do it on your own.
Great, thank you. We have also a comment from Philip. Philip says, very useful human resources maturity model, also for governments. It makes the human resources dimension clear for the company organization from digitalizing services to digital transformation. Thank you, Philip, for this comment.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Thank you so much, Marika. So now you will leave the stage and I will see you at the end of the session once again.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Now I would like to invite Eva from Alexanderson Institute COM3 project to the stage. And Eva will introduce us to building communities around digitalization of businesses. Welcome, Eva. And the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So, my name is Eva Hjelmerud, and I work for the Alexanderson Institute in Varberg, Sweden. And we are very proud to be partners both in Futures by Design and in the COM3 project that I'm going to present now. What brings these projects together is data is the new currency, as we all know. COM3 stands for Building Competences for Competitive Companies, because we know that in an ever more digital world, SMEs in rural areas are faced with many uncertainties. And to stay competitive, they need to constantly improve their digital readiness. But public authorities and business support organizations often don't have the right tools and competences to support rural SMEs on this journey. So COM3 is working towards digitally enabled and transformed SMEs in rural areas that make the North Sea region a more attractive place to live, work and invest in. And you can say that we work in 3 different areas. We have regional pilots. We have 9 regional pilots in 7 countries to show the way and test solutions developed by COM3 partners in real use cases. We have a support model. We are jointly developing a support model to strengthen and empower local and regional authorities and business support organizations, because they have a role as a facilitator for the tech adoption of rural enterprises. And the third part is a community. We want to build a community around business digitalization in the North Sea region. So, the pilots. The ultimate goal of COM3 is to give rise to tech-enabled and tech-branded rural areas in which rural enterprises are able to grow and scale up by means of effective use of digital technologies. So, let's go on a road trip. We start our journey in northern Germany. In northern Schleswig-Holstein, we find the regional authority of Amt Hüttner Berge. Hüttner Berge consists of 16 rural communities, and Amt Hüttner Berge has established a high-performance digital infrastructure that currently reaches approximately 90% of all 5,000 households. In the context of its future strategy, Hüttner Berge's goal is to increase the attractiveness of its 16 rural communities by improving the regional economic environment with support of digital technologies. So, digital solutions for promotion and purchase of local products. It's called Shopping in My Village. The 17th of May, they launched a brand new marketplace called Heimatware. It's a local online marketplace that is combined with a delivery service that enables domestic companies to compete with bigger online portals that operate across local boundaries. So this is a huge step forward that will help connect regional producers, retailers, and local craft with each other and to gain new customers. Our next step is in Vejle in Denmark. Vejle is a town located in the southeast of Jutland. The predominant sector of local economy are food, manufacturing and tourism. And previous local analysis of the business in Vejle have clearly shown that increasing the knowledge and competences related to innovative digital solution is a clear priority for the region. The Vejle pilot is about improving the capacity in the local business service to address digital and green innovation potential in local SMEs. But due to market change during the pandemic, Vejle has restarted their prototype development, and they are using design thinking workshops and have 3 prototype ideas developed. One about funding service, one about communication service, and the third one, value-based business service. Furthermore, Vejle has purchased a video equipment which can be used by SMEs for live streaming and or video production. And the first users have been the University College and local SMEs from the food sector. So if you go to YouTube, you can search for A Taste of Vejle, and then you can find, for example, this one about a brewery, coffee house. The next step on our road trip, we go to Belgium and the region of Southwest Flanders. And here we find Leerdal. The region of Southwest Flanders is well known for product design. The pilot here is called Imagineering of Data. And the project partners Intercommunale Leerdal, which is the project owner, by the way, and Design Regio Kortrijk, they aim to stimulate innovation. So a key element to the pilot is to develop an open data platform integrating relevant regional, geographical, and statistical information. It will be a data as a service platform that will have different functionalities, and you can find, for example, data capturing, data transformation, data analysis, etc. And to support potential users, a coaching program will be developed, and there will be regional expert coaches. So the second part of our project, the support model. This support model will consist of guiding measures, targeted coaching, as well as training solutions. And there will be training solutions in a few different areas. And now we're going to take a look at ICT security concerns. Our colleagues at the University of Aalborg, they are looking more into cybersecurity readiness and awareness. And they are developing solutions for learning and training individuals of the importance of cybersecurity. And they will also suggest and recommend protective solutions for SMEs and partners that will help in early detection. Early on, they made a survey with different kinds of organizations, SMEs, universities, etc. And some lessons learned from this survey was that all organizations rely on digital platforms for their business, but they have very little focus on cybersecurity and its impact. In general, there's an assumption that you are being safe. So they require formal consulting on securing their digital infrastructure, and they also need assistance for building knowledge and awareness, and not at least a defined incident response plan. So we're going to take a sneak peek at the interactive cybersecurity training. Cybersecurity readiness through honeypots. And in computer terminology, a honeypot is a computer security mechanism set to detect, deflect, or in some manner counteract attempts at unauthorized use of information systems. So this is a learning platform that introduces cybersecurity and deception-based security. It is applicable to all organizational and business areas, provides basic knowledge of threats, hands-on interactive training modules with real honeypot systems. But just to let you know. When we're usually at a conference like this, when it's live, when it's not COVID pandemic, there can be some sort of giveaway. It can be a pen, it can be candy, it can be whatever. Here today, we have a digital giveaway to you, thanks to Aalborg University. It is the Hostage Honeypot to Go. It has been developed by Aalborg University. It's an Android-based honeypot system that can emulate systems from a Windows computer to a nuclear power plant. It's very easy to use and navigate and offers spot attack overviews and analysis, and it's for free. So you can scan the QR code or you can download it from Aalborg University's Git repository. So the third part of the project, which is a very important part, is the community, and to build a community around rural business digitalization in the North Sea region. And to achieve this, we are working on creating an online rural business digitalization platform that shall provide mapping and sector-specific information, as well as great networking possibilities for rural and local and regional authorities, business support organizations, and rural businesses around the North Sea region. We will also bring together stakeholders in matchmaking events and, of course, mainstreaming the project findings. So you can say that we are searching for an online digital support for intermediaries to show them, teach them, coach them how the local businesses can benefit from digital technologies and integrate digital technologies in their businesses. So to summarize the project and why we are doing this, COM3 is working towards digitally enabled and transformed SMEs in rural areas that make the North Sea region a more attractive place to live, work, and invest in. Thank you.
Eva, thank you so much for your presentation. I have one question to you about responsibility. So I'm curious, how far does our responsibility go in supporting SMEs? For example, in raising awareness about cybersecurity issues or any other issues. So where do we start as facilitators, or where do we stop?
We start as facilitators, but then of course it's up to the SMEs. But it's in general really, it's difficult to know what kind of attacks you can be targeted to if you don't have the knowledge. So we do have a responsibility to raise awareness, because it's about the people living in our regions and the companies. So in order for them to grow and to scale up, we need to take a lot of responsibility, but it's not just our responsibility.
Thank you very much, Eva. I would like now to invite Franziska and Marika to the stage and ask some questions for the end of the session. So welcome, Marika. Welcome, Franziska. Yeah. I have a question to Franziska and to Eva. At the scale from 1 to 10, where are the SMEs with their skill level and level of digitalization? So are we still at the start, let's say 1, which is low, or are we already advanced? Try to think of a horizon. So, I mean, I wonder what you put as 10. So what would be like a very good level, because this is, I guess, changing all the time. So I hope, I'm looking forward to your assessment. Where are we? And we could start maybe with Franziska.
Well, as we saw in my small data sample already, it's quite diverse. So we have companies that are really good already. Probably they are in something that is data related. But we also have companies who still work on paper, which is a big problem. So I think if I were to pick a number from 1 to 10, I would go for like a 4.5 maybe in general. But it's just a widespread. So I think the biggest issue that we have is getting the companies who are at a 1 or even below a 1 to start seeing what they can gain and to get them to digitize than helping people who are already further in the journey.
Thank you, Franziska. Eva, what about you?
It is, as Franziska said, really difficult to say one number of this, because you have those who are really advanced, and then you have the ones that are more on a basic level. So I think you can really see that these kind of projects can create awareness, not only about cybersecurity, but also about data maturity and what you actually can gain from it. So I will agree with Francesca, because I can't say a number that would be in general for all SMEs in the area.
Thank you, Eva. Marike, I have a question from Robert to you. Are the tools that you presented suitable also for larger organizations?
Yes, well, it depends how large, because I'm not sure if you have a very big company, but yeah, it's I guess it's the same, but well, I'm not sure if our infrastructure can handle 2,000 people logging into but that is more practical. Yeah, I think the idea is also suitable for bigger companies. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. One more question, Marike, to you. So from Philip, do human resource managers in Industry 4.0 companies also require new skills and attitudes?
Yeah, I would suggest that, because I think the field of human resources is very much changing, and sometimes I think we have very traditional tools in human resource management, and if you should look at the learning opportunities in organizations, and I think it's a very developing field now. And yes, I think human resource managers also should develop these new skills, and they should have knowledge of it, because I'm from IT, in the background in IT, and sometimes they talk about, okay, we need IT employees, and then I think, okay, what kind of IT employee do you need? Do you need someone for data science? He needs really other skills than if you need someone for networking. It would be the same as if I need a doctor. Yeah, well, you if you have a surgeon, it's really an other person than you have someone for a skin doctor. So it's really a diverse thing. So yes, it's good that human resource managers also become more acquainted with this.
Thank you very much. I have a maybe slightly provocative question to all of you, and I will ask you to make a comment. So we all know that transformation towards Industry 4.0 and digital transformation for companies and needs lots of resources. It's a lot of staff, resources, and investments. So if we look at the short term and medium term, and what if some companies decide against transformation, they will save resources now, they will focus on what they are doing best now, and skip all this train towards transition. Is it possible that some of these companies, because they, in the short term and let's say early midterm, they still can be the winners? Eva, what do you say?
My instant response is that they need to survive until then. And that's not a certainty. But I think if you don't, I think you need the skills and you need to develop to stay relevant. So I think it's a tricky way to go. Maybe some will manage, but I think it's a tricky way to go.
Franziska?
I would have to agree, I think, with Eva, because, well, as a company, you wanna increase your chances to be able to make it and stay competitive. And I think it's a risky gamble to not see or to not even start digitizing, because, well, as we do now works. And well, we try to fight that in our project very hard by showing them easy wins. So little changes already can have an impact.
Thank you, Marike.
Well, I wouldn't suggest it if I was a consultant, but of course you have companies, well, who are very narrowed in their focus. So yeah, well, perhaps you can make a strong point of it, but I think the most easiest way to go on is take your advantages of digitization.
Thank you so much. So I take for your responses that if a company wants to survive more than a very short term, they would rather invest in transformation, some resources and some also funds. Thank you so much for the session. I think we will stop here. So Eva, Marek and Franziska, thank you very much. You will now leave the stage. And everybody, thank you for the session, for attending the session. We will now make a lunch break and we will be back at 12:45 for the next session on digital skills.